Hello, guys. Welcome back. Here's where the channel gets controversial and half of you and sub. But you guys know that I work with a little bit of everybody, whoever has been on the channel, and Loki would be the first god to drag you to church. And to be clear, he can be a little, mine, but he'd also be the first god to drag you to churching if you needed it. Not like go become a hardcore Christian again, but like if you miss the god you grew up with, go visit the god you grew up with. And this year we are all going to be spending, most of us, because I reconferred with my Christian friends and that we're all going to be spending Christmas on our own in our own homes. Now we will be able to call each other, but that's not going to replace seeing the people we love, right? So, even if we exchange food and exchange gifts, it's still not going to be quite the same. So what do we do? And I looked at Loki and he looked at me, and we don't just like to spring stuff on you people because sometimes people do not react very well, but I am not of the field of these gods are now my gods, all the other gods are my enemies. I'm like, why can't everybody have every god? As long as you are being respectful and you're treating the gods well, I've never had an issue. So we've been talking about, you got all these birthday boys this month. Mithras for some people are going to be doing, what is it, Saturnalia. Some people are going to be doing Hanukkah. Yeah, Hanukkah. Some people are going to be doing Hanukkah. I invented a new holiday, Mazel Tov. Some people are going to be doing Kwanzaa. Some people are going to be doing Christmas, and they're going to be doing the birth of Jesus Christ, even though, as the song says, we know he's not a Capricorn. But, the thing is, we were talking about it, and I was saying, just as a goof, my mother and I used to do, because, grew up Catholic household, used to cook a birthday cake for the birthday boy. And, we were giggling, and I was saying, well, I have other stuff I could do, and we could throw a birthday party. And there really won't be any presents, but the presents would be time together, as schmaltzy as it sounds. And I said, what would be fun is, and I know all the hardcore Lokeans are already unsubbing. I said, we ought to drag everybody into it and just have a birthday party, for Jesus. Not hyper religious, but just something nice. I said, we know it's not actually your birthday and, stuff like that. But, why not have a birthday party for all the gods? Because there are like 20 gods or something, right, that are supposed to be born. So we've been kicking around that idea. Though whether or not you would see anything like that for Christmas, we were thinking of like putting together happy birthday or like happy birthday Jesus or something. Because I really have never felt called to work with Mithras. But, some people would say, well, Boulder or something else. Boulder and I get along well enough, but, Jesus is the one I grew up with. And I said, my mom and I always used to do the birthday cake. And I think in 2020, of all the years, especially if you're not going to be seeing friends and family, this would be the year to do it because we might as well have story time here. Usually on Christmas, most of my gifts were that my mom would, my mom's been gone for about 8-10 years now. But, I would always be getting all these calendars and stuff in the mail. And whatever I got during the year, I'd say, hey, Mom, you got me a calendar. Hey, Mom, you got me this. Thank you. And I would wrap them up and I would say, these are the gifts you got me this year. And so she would get me a calendar. She'd get me like a little pocket calendar. One year she got me like a little blanket from the Humane Society. Because they used to send you all the stuff. One year she got me a calculator. And yet anything this year, not so much as here's a little tiny card with 2021 on it. And I said, to my friend, I said, I'm going to feel real funny because I won't have anything to open for Mom. Technically, I do because when she passed away, she had that drawer that people have of little gifts. So I could do one gift for my mom. So I stand corrected. But I said, it's going to feel funny because, we usually have that thing. And I don't know what kind of Christian my friend is, but she didn't say anything. I said, you still talk to them, And I said, it's just been a thing of, I think 2020 is do what makes you feel comfortable. If you feel like doing, you'll do it. If you don't do it. If you feel like doing Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you got going on, do it. If you don't do it. Don't push yourself to be happy when you're not. But don't push yourself to forgo anything that makes you happy either. The person that skipped out on paying actually had asked me if I do Yule, and quite honestly, we don't. Well, her tradition for Yule is grab a cup of coffee and a donut. Ain't doing that because of COVID this year. And that's it. I have tried the last couple of years. We tried 1 year because Loki was really pushing, to just get full on into Yule, and I can't. It's like it's a damn cold day and the sun's never out. What do I'm not going out there standing in below freezing weather. And I said, it's just not a thing for me. I don't spiritually resonate with it. I certainly love Odin as the Yule father, and I love Loki and the Nordic gods all that much, but really, because I still keep secular Christmas, we actually do something small. And what I do for secular Christmas is get up, and if it's a good year and I saved a little Halloween candy, have a little stocking full of Halloween candy, giving you all the secret stuff here. And then if there's anything to open that. If I manage to tuck something into an order, open that. And, that's it. And then, cook some stuff. And it's not the Christmas of Christmases past, but my um one horoscope this week was very specific about not pining for the past, to stop looking at the past and wishing it was here. And I think all Geminis right now, because we hate getting older and we hate change. We do. We like adventures, but we don't like change. I was thinking about how my parents would put lights in every window, and how they would do all this stuff, and we would decorate the house, and we would go to midnight mass, and we would do all this stuff. And I'm like, it was all wonderful stuff, but it was wonderful stuff because of the people here with me, that we were doing it together. That was the wonderful part. The meal was wonderful because of the family. Even if I could just snap my fingers and recreate everything else, like the giant tree and all the presents and that would be nice. I'm not gonna lie, that would be nice. But our ancestors are always with us in spirit. And I talk to my parents on a daily basis, but they're not going to be here physically. And I'm like, that's what I really miss. I miss, going for the car rides, and I miss going to church together. I miss sitting down for a meal together. So, my horoscope was like, don't get so nostalgic. You're forgetting the bad parts, and believe me, I remember the bad parts. And you have to kind of then make a Christmas that's meaningful to you now. And it might be your first Christmas ever alone. So the thing is to remember, you won't be alone. You will have Loki. You will have the god you grew up with, because I strongly believe you shouldn't have an orphan god. You don't have to practice the religion to deal with a god. Most people disagree with that, especially if they are of the religion, but I've never believed in that, because if you did that, you would only be stuck with one god, because you would end up with one god in the religion that grew up around them, and that's exact opposite of paganism. So, if you need to go home this year, I don't speak for anyone else, but I'd say, spiritually, I mean, go home, talk to your God, talk to the angels, the saints, whatever you had going on. Talk to, it's funny, I'm not getting classical music station anymore. So I've been listening to this elevator music station, and I was like fretting last night, and I'm like, oh, I have all this stuff coming up, and how am I going to deal with it? And I got the song, the elevator music version of, Let It Be, about Mother Mary. And I'm like, that's pretty timely. So I'm talking to the Virgin Mary last night. And if you think you can't go home because you think they won't welcome you, remember that is what your church or your preacher or your pastor or someone said. That's what your synagogue or temple said. That's not what your God said. If you feel your God, goddess, whoever you grew up with, going, hey, come here, come here, come here, and trying to get your attention, go pay attention. You don't have to go back to religion to go home and say hello to the God and everything, because obviously if that religion had been perfect for you, you'd still be there. Had Catholic Church been accepting of gay people and people that had a pagan bent, I'd still be Catholic. But they don't play like that. They're not the UU church. So, do what you have to this year. And I mean that. And I'm getting from all the gods. They don't care where you have to go to feel secure. They don't care what traditions you have to make or leave behind this year. Just make sure you take care of you, whatever you got to do this year to take care of yourself. I'm running up my electric bill having lights on, but it's dark and depressing out there. It's like 5 o'clock, and because it's dark and rainy and cold anymore, it's like almost pitch black, 5:30. And, having the lights on makes me feel better. So, that's a lot cheaper than therapy. That's a lot better than, sitting here and getting more and more depressed. So do what's going to work for you guys. It's very important to take care of your mental health, especially in a year as stressful as 2020. And we've got all the stress and uncertainty about the end of the year. You're not alone. You're not alone. Just so we're not spoiling anything. People on Patreon knew. I just vaguely asked a question so they know I'm up to something. You are going to see something Christmas Day. You got that to look forward to. You are going to see something Yule. I really, honestly, on my own, I'm not really that big into Yule. The programming make it look like I'm uber into Yule. I'm really not. I will get up that day. We won't have the coffee and we won't have the donut. I won't go out and say hello to the sun. It'll be too damn cold. I will sit inside and say hello to the sun. Then I'll probably have a Pop Tart and a cup of coffee, and that'll be it. So please, guys, make sure you do self-care this year and every year. Every year it's important. Do what you can to take care of yourself. And if there are things you don't have anymore, like this year will be the first year ever since my childhood, I haven't had an advent calendar, the kind with the chocolate in it, and I'm kind of bummed out about it. I was like, oh, I don't need that this year. No, now I'm sad. It's okay. It's okay. I don't have the advent calendar this year. I didn't buy the fruitcake this year. I don't have the eggy nog this year. We're gonna be okay. It's gonna look different for all of us. I don't have the things we had in the past. We get these huge poinsettias and everything else, but it'll look okay. It's not the stuff, it was the people you were with. And if some of those people have passed on, you're pagan. You can sit there and you can talk to them. You don't have to have any faith at all. You can sit there and talk to your ancestors, and the more you do it, the more of a response you'll get. Like, I got my mom showing up on Pinterest, as weird as that sounds, like, no, you're not going anywhere for Christmas. You're sitting here. But mom, I'll be sad and I'll be alone. You are sitting right here. That's your mom for you. And that was Odin and Loki. And my Christian friend actually was like, you better stay home. So we already decided we are all staying home. And it's normal to still want to go, even when it's dangerous. We're human. We want to be with our friends and our family. So I know it's going to be hard, guys. I know it's going to be hard. And I know a lot of us got a lot of stuff going on in our private lives right now that maybe we're freaking out about. But, like the song said, just let it be, let it go, put it in the hands of the gods. Once you have done everything humanly possible, worrying and fretting and freaking out about it and asking what if isn't going to change anything. I wish it did. If it did, I would have changed everything in my life just by worrying, because that's what people with anxiety do. But it's not going to change everything, guys. And things are going to be better. There is going to be an end of COVID. There has to. There's a beginning, middle, and end to everything. There will be an end to COVID. There will be an end to restrictions. There will be getting back to life as normal. There will be, things moving forward. And, as I was talking to, I think it was Apollo, about, how serious this is and how freaked out people are. And he says, well, you know, even if we lost everything today, we'd be devastated. We all would. But you can always start over. Where there's life, there's hope. So, we can always start over. Look how many, multimillionaires lost absolutely everything, ended up homeless, and then rebuilt themselves. So, if they can do it, we can do it. So, try to let go of that fear. Try to let go of, oh God, if I lose everything, I'm gonna be out in the street and I'm gonna starve to death, and you can always rebuild. You can always rebuild. Where there's life, there's hope. So I don't know if it's timely or not for one of you guys, but you're not a failure if you haven't hit everything society tells you to do. You're not a failure because your house isn't 5 times bigger, or your bank account isn't $1 million, or you're not a celebrity. You're not a failure. The vast majority of people are just like you, or maybe, they're having a little harder time of it. So, it's important to remember, especially during the holidays, you're not a failure because you don't have the biggest tree or a huge feast for Christmas. We're probably going to have Pop Tarts and completes, maybe some breakfast cereal. We'll have food, but it doesn't look like a traditional meal. That's okay. You're not a failure because this year's been tough on everyone. I'm just grateful we'll have food on the table, and we have the bills paid, so we'll have heat and we'll have light. To me, that's, miracle enough. Running water, we got it all. So it's okay if your life looks different than it used to. It's okay, like it was hard for me to adjust. I used to live pretty good life with Riley. I no longer get those weekly, what are they, Women's World or something? Used to get those every week. I used to get, a cup of not cappuccino, lattes out all the time. I used to go shopping all the time, grocery shopping. I used to spend in 1 week what I spend in over what I spend in a month now on groceries. And it's hard when you first, lose those things, and it's hard when I lost the TV and, lost the cable and stuff like that. But you adjust and you realize, I never used the cable. I never used the cable. And as fancy as my groceries used to be, and they really weren't fancy, they were just, I was buying meat and vegetables, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm still content with what I'm eating. It's not like I'm sitting here and, crying over every spoonful. So we're gonna be okay, guys. And the gods do have our back. I know we live in a science-filled world anymore where we don't have faith in our gods and there's no room for faith because science said so. But, the gods are still in control. If you grew up Catholic, Christian, whatever, Jewish, whatever, your God is still in control, whoever that might be, because there's like actually 4 or 5 contenders for who you're talking about when you say God. Interesting, yes? So your God is still in control, that they don't stop everything. It's just kind of what we've come up with talking amongst ourselves is, human problems, human solutions. I think we're at that stage now where the gods are like, we're taking off the training wheels. We're taking off the training wheels. You're adults now. You're adults. You can follow the rules. You can do this stuff. And we're just unfortunately in the middle of a pandemic. It's not nice for your parents to decide because the gods are, sometimes they're like your parents to decide you're on your own when you face your first crisis. But it's kind of that spiritual learning curve of, learning stuff. We've had to make sacrifices this year, all of us. We've made sacrifices and not seen our friends and family. And it really cuts when you know someone who they haven't made a single sacrifice all this year. My one friend, she's seen her family, she's gone on vacation, she does all this other stuff. Thank the God she hasn't got sick because she's elderly. She's gone everywhere. She's defying all the expectations. She's elderly. She should be sick as a dog. You know who got it? The woman that's 20 years younger than her that runs a barber shop. That's who's got it, and that woman's in the hospital, 2 doors down from her. So, COVID don't play fair. COVID don't play fair. COVID don't got favorites. I just, I thank her gods that she's been okay. And that's the cancer patient that's come through all this okay. Where the other one, she's in her house and she's scared all the time. So it's gonna be okay, guys. We're gonna come out the other end. We do have vaccines on the way. You're getting them in the UK first, I believe. And then we'll get them here eventually. And even if they don't send us a second stimulus check, even if the government's as stupid and useless as they usually are, it's all going to be okay. It really is. One way or another, it will work out. So I know that was long and rambly, but it feels timely for one of you. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.